Oh, we're on? Oh my God. I got a newspaper in my hand ever since the Fresno Bee went bust. I haven't got to hold the newspaper. There's nothing I love more than reading a newspaper. I could read it for hours. I read some articles twice. And this one is the Fresno Times and also Los Tiempos, a Spanish version. Did you know we have a new newspaper in town? Well, we do. And I've invited the publisher, I guess, Terry, I know the name.
Wild.
Again?
Wild?
Oh, Terry Wild, sorry.
I'm
that age where, you know, names and stuff slips through me. Terry Wild, you're publishing a newspaper called the Fresno Times.
Yeah.
That's about one of the most exciting things that happened in my life for a long time.
Well, I'm glad because a lot of people are saying they like it and it's needed, so we're encouraged by that.
Yeah. And also, I told you before, I was kind of in the newspaper business in college. We never got to do a full-color paper like that. The technology must be so different than the olden days, where you typeset and print full-color papers and stuff like that. When does it come out?
Our last one is, the last issue was for November the 1st.
Okay.
And we're doing 2 issues a month for now until the end of the year, and then probably February we hope to be weekly.
Weekly, that'd be nice.
That's our goal.
They keep growing and growing, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Is there an online presence, by the way?
There is. We have a temporary website at thefresnotimes.com, and that our full developed website will be up in a couple of weeks.
One thing at a time. This alone was a giant, giant accomplishment. Let me see where my camera is. Just to get it out. So you've had 3, 4, 5 editions?
3.
Okay. Now, we all, by the way, one thing I want to say is we all need to support this. This isn't, you know, doesn't come out for free, I don't think. Can we subscribe or?
Yeah, you can subscribe. Go to the website, thefresnotimes.com,
Okay.
and there's the link to subscribe.
I don't mean to say it doesn't come out for free. They don't just, I mean, somebody's paying for it, and it's a lot, you know. There's a lot that goes into something like this. First of all, just the startup and development, I would imagine, is pretty expensive. So we need to, if we appreciate something like this in our city, we need to all go online and subscribe. It's pretty easy to do, I'd imagine.
It is, yeah.
TheFresnoTimes.com?
Yes.
Okay. And how much is it to subscribe?
Right now, we're giving a special 3 months for $12.95.
Yeah.
And then we're going to set a monthly rate as we develop it.
Yeah. I mean, I am one of those crazy guys that pays $6 for a cup of coffee, which lasts me 20 minutes, so I can put up $12.95 for 3 months of. It doesn't even matter if you are dying to read it or not. We need this in town, so you just support it. Go to subscribe to support. A kind of nice, different approach to the news that maybe that old newspaper we've had around for a while. They don't have the same approach, I don't think.
Well, you know, they're considered a liberal newspaper. They're considered biased. And so it's not just that they have their own bias, but they propagate things that just aren't true. They're supporting the left agenda. So all these issues over the years have caused a couple 100,000 people to drop out of the Bee.
Yeah.
So that leaves a market that we're trying to fill with a paper that has a conservative editorial viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be fair and balanced, but just by stating the truth makes you hard right.
Yeah. Now, I saw maybe an article by Dr. Hedberg in there.
Yep.
He's got a weekly show here, you know?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he does a show here, his own show, and
Yeah.
we think he's a remarkable guy. His show is Doctor, Teach Me to Parent. And he takes kind of a
Nice.
conservative faith approach to parenting, and it's really a refreshing show that we have on. And just, I can't wait to read through every word of this, and I will, you know. I read a lot. Who are all the authors and who are your contributors? You have a lot of contributors?
We have some great contributors. We have Rich Bailey is one of our main writers, and he covers a whole range of different topics. He's really smart. He's really qualified and knows a lot about a lot of things. So he's written 3 books, and he's writing his 4th book to be published soon. So Rich heads up our editorial section.
Okay.
And then we have just people who have an interest and some writing background and expertise doing it right now on a volunteer basis.
I bet you need a lot of personnel to get
But
this
you
thing
know,
out.
one of the exciting things that I'm going through is, you know, newspapers started in this country, and they were citizen newspapers. They're written with citizen journalism, and then it developed into a more sophisticated kind of journalistic standard that really only came into being in the 50s, the way we have it understood now. And then in the last couple of years, you know, our premier newspaper in the country, the New York Times, has become so dishonest and so they violated all the journalistic standards that you can think of. So we don't have journalistic standards actually being practiced in most of the papers. There's some that still do, but to have someone that is considered our newspaper, like the New York Times, to do what they're doing, we have to expose, and we're trying to make people aware of what's really going on, and so that gives us an edge to the right where people would perceive us that way.
I always say it's just a matter of telling the truth, you know?
That's it.
It's not,
That's it.
the idea that you gotta bend the story, bend it to kind of get this point across, and since when do stories have to get a point across, you know? Just tell the truth about stuff, and I think that'd be a great newspaper, so.
Well, you know, we research a lot, and we study the issues, we study things that have been written, and the level of dishonesty and pure falsehood is at such a level that it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It is so unreliable, and it's hard to believe that we're living in this kind of a culture. It's almost not real.
And it's not just the print media, but boy, the broadcast media is just shocking right now.
Well, look at all the projections in 2016 and 2016 and now they're just skewing the whole news media towards the left, and anybody can see that. It's not even hard to identify.
And it's too bad, because, you know, I'm one who craves news and information, and now I think, where am I going to turn? Where am I going to find out what's the truth? So you watch this channel for a while, then you watch the channel on the other side for a while, and then you're, you know, trying to put together, you know, what might really be the truth. And by the way, our president, love him or not love him, one thing he captured was he skipped over the news and went straight to the public. And, you know, through Twitter and these different things.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
But he also gave us a fresh personality that isn't political. He's a businessman, that's his background. And what I like about him is he's just honest about it. He is who he is, that's who he is. People try and get him to be someone different.
Yeah.
And that's refreshing.
Yeah, and also in that vein of him skipping over the news media to, you know, get his point across, I would watch the press conferences, you know, the daily press briefing by the press secretary, and you get to see it live now instead of filtered through the media. I could see it live, and then I go and watch the news articles on the press briefing. You said, did they watch the same press briefing that I just watched?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's great that we can skip the media now, the broadcast media, and go straight to some of these sources and get original sources rather than filtered news.
And that's what we're trying to do. You know, he's being characterized, he's being identified in such dishonest ways, and what the left is doing, Pelosi, Schumer, all these politicians, they're projecting their own dishonesty on Trump, and they're accusing him of everything they themselves are doing wrong, and it's like, this is threatening. This is an awful, terrible situation, and it threatens our culture. It threatens our social fabric in America.
Well, just a recent issue I've been trying to keep an eye on, and I'm a busy guy. I can't spend 2 or 3 hours a day watching the news, sorting out what's real, what's not real. But this thing where the president and the Republicans have been trying to put out the stimulus package, which has to hurt them anyway, because they don't like to give away, money, government money, but, they see a need, and they got a nice little clean thing, and then Pelosi comes in, she's got all these things to give money to this group and that group, nothing to do with the stimulus at all. But you don't get that in the news. It barely seeps through.
And the other thing that we have learned and that we're trying to deal with in the paper is that there's this agenda that is taking place in this country to change our whole fabric and our Constitution. They want to destroy this Constitution. They can't exist unless they do. So they're threatening and trying to take away the very foundation that this country's been built on, which is the Constitution of the United States, and they're just nullifying it.
Some sacred things you don't touch,
Well, they're touching it, they're kicking it, and they're beating it to death.
Well, that's why we need a strong court, a strong Supreme Court. So, let me ask you this: outside the news, gossip. We were watching the presidential election last night. We all got maps. We had at the electoral college each state with the numbers.
Right.
And I was realizing halfway through the night, none of us Californians are even talking about California, because California is done before we even vote. It all I think 55 votes go to the Dems. And so these guys are talking around the table saying, we should do a ballot initiative to apportion our electoral college votes from California. If Biden got 60% and Trump got 40%, then they'd each get votes, but giving 100% of them to one person, it just skews the whole outcome for the whole nation.
Yeah. Well, we found out that because of all this stuff that's going on, all this negative, horrible stuff that is taking place, people are waking up. And I believe, and the people I'm working with believe, that there's a real groundswell. I was hoping Trump would win, and I hope he does win. But even if he doesn't, people are waking up, and we have an opportunity now to reestablish ourselves as constitutionalists, one nation under God, people who believe in faith and in family and in morality. And so my hope is that people will get involved, they'll support people like things I'm doing, the Republican Party, for example, and other organizations that stand for truth and for what the Constitution is all about. So the newspaper really is trying to be a vehicle to give people a voice in Fresno County.
Well, I see so many ways that they could do that. First, it'll keep a lot of people connected, give a place for us to express ideas, give us a place to report the truth, and it's kind of our rallying point. I think this one newspaper is going to be that.
Well, the other thing is we welcome opposing viewpoints.
Very good.
So I had to go searching for someone in the first issue who had an opposing viewpoint of the COVID situation. So we were able to find that. We printed the article. But we welcome opposing viewpoints. And if people don't agree, we have an opinion section. People can voice their opinion, either for or against what we're doing. We think that's a healthy thing.
It's very healthy. Yeah, there's not only an absolute. In fact, the reason we started CentralValleyTalk 12 years ago, there's a radio station, a conservative radio station in Fresno, and they had a host on there who said, no, it's either my way or you're wrong. There's a lot of variations of, right and wrong, or a lot of levels, and I wear a mask, not 100% of the time like I'm supposed to, but there's a variation in what to do, and I don't think anybody's wrong. It's just we have a little different ideas. So.
Well, what we don't want to be wrong are the essential facts. And so the whole COVID thing has been, I think, a weapon that's been used in this country to defeat Trump.
Yeah.
Now that sounds like a conspiracy kind of a thing, but I believe it. I think that they're using this as a way to tamp down the voter turnout, to keep people in fear. And so, although it's real and it's dangerous, it's being used and we're being played.
And we don't know the outcome of the election, but in the event that Trump were to lose, and all of a sudden, no, COVID's no problem, you know,
Gone.
we'll know that the whole thing was for sure a hoax, which would be one of the worst things that happened to our world, you know, in many, many years. So. Well, anyway, Terry, I'm excited about this. And by the way, you know, here at Central Valley Talk, we have another channel called Nuevo Valle Central, all Spanish. And I think it's brilliant that you guys have Los Tiempos, all Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Or mostly Spanish or all Spanish?
All Spanish.
Yeah, so there's both. And I think one of the biggest, and especially conservative populations, is the Hispanic, you know, people who read and speak Spanish. And I think instead of fighting it, we all need to embrace it like you did. Say, we're going to do a Spanish version.
Well, we're looking for those people. You know, we have a conservative editorial viewpoint. We're looking for people that share that view. And I'd love for anyone who is Spanish that wants to write in Los Tiempos to contact us.
Very good.
And we'd love to have their input.
Very good. We need that. Last thoughts, Bill? Not Bill. Terry? Last thoughts, Terry. I'm Wild Bill, I keep thinking. Bill Wild. Terry Wild. Any last thoughts for our viewers?
Know that we just want to do a good job for the community. We're trying very hard. If anybody has any thoughts and suggestions, let us know. They can go to the FresnoTimes.com, and we'd love to have their feedback.
That's a very healthy way to approach it. For other old newspapers that approach it that way, they'd probably still be around. But we appreciate your approach. And the website again is thefresnotimes.com for now. They're growing so fast, you guys. Keep watching. Here's a copy of the front page, and it's just beautiful, the full color and the depth, and feature on Kanye West, right? So anyway, stick around, subscribe to the Fresno Times, support them if you want this kind of thing in town. Terry's not here asking for that. I'm asking for that. That's my idea, to get our viewers to support the Fresno Times. We'll be back with more Central Valley Talk right after this.